The gang boys. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of our daily range case study. And today I'm bringing you the daily range of US30. So without further ado, let's get right on into the video. So first things first, overall you could tell today was just an overall bearish day, and I was anticipating this due to the fact that yesterday was also a bearish day. So what we are going to be paying attention to is I want you to pay attention to the previous day's high and the previous day's low, because just from these two swing points is going to basically show you that you could have caught this whole entire move based off of just understanding these 2 points. So first we're going to get the previous day's high. We're going to mark that up. We're going to get the previous day's low. And as you can see, the previous day's low was targeted right down here, and that's going to be a point that we're going to also keep in mind. So let's get this previous day's low. So where I want you guys to pay attention to is right up here, right down here. Now let me get the 12 a.m. open, which is right here, and then I'm going to get the previous day's Asian session range, which is going to be right here. Let's get that in there. We had a little gap in here, so the range is a little bit off, but nonetheless, it's still gonna be able to be used. So why did I use these two areas up here that I wanted you to pay attention to? So for one, pay attention to where this is in price. This is at 34,000 right here, 34,000 big figure level. Down here is at 33,400 big figure level. Those are the two areas right here. And then we have some of them in between that I'm also going to show you guys. We have 33,800 right here. And then right in here, we have 33,500. So let me get that right there. Now let me show you why these two swing points are going to be important. So overall, since we understood that based off of the higher time frames, yesterday was a bearish day, and we were more than likely going to continue that overall bearish trend. So just understanding that, we ideally would have been looking for all sells. Now, simply put, if I would have looked to catch the continuation, simply pull your fib from that high to this low down here, right down here. And you can see that right in here, when we came into this trade into it at 7:30, we had this false break of these highs to the left, tapped into the 62% of this price area, and then from here, this was the high of the day. So now let's annotate that. So we have the high of the day at 7:30 a.m. at a fib short, plus at a big figure level, which is 34,000. And then from here, you can see price had this overall drop to the downside, and price never came back this high. So now we're going to go slightly to a higher time frame, see if there was any other confirmations in here that we could have potentially used. Go to daily maybe. And just like that, if you look at it like this, we have this overall bearish breaker block right here, this last down candle before this up move. This is going to be our bearish breaker block. We're going to move that all the way over, just like that. Go back to lower time frame. I'm going to pay attention to where this happens. So right up here, right in there. You see, this is where price traded right into, and then this is where price showed the willingness to go lower. So let's also annotate that. So we had that daily breaker, and then this is where price overall started to go lower. So from here, price ran all the way to what? It ran to target the previous London session lows and the Asian session lows. So when you're overall looking for reversal points, this is something I always like to do. If you're looking for a New York reversal, the two targets you're going to be targeting are ideally going to be, one, the London session lows are high, or the Asian session low or high. It's not always going to happen, but for the most part, if you use those as targets, you're going to be able to catch majority of the move. And if you take off at least partials at these areas, it's going to make sure you secure majority profits, and make sure you always keep that in mind. So now that we're going to come down all the way to this point, and we're going to keep in mind at 14 o'clock, which I think is 2 o'clock. So 2 o'clock, we got the low of the day. 2 p.m., we got the low of the day at what? 33,400 after clearing previous day's low and the Asian range low. So from here, we had this overall false break scenario where price came down, cleared all the liquidity, and then we got an engulfing right away, trading right back above into this area. So let's say you potentially missed this move down here. Overall, you still were looking for a potential chance to catch that move. Something you could do is from this high that we created up here to this low, you could pull a fib. So just like this, pull that fib from that high to this low. Matter of fact, let's use this high right here, just because this is the one that actually started the move. So from this is the main leg that started this push here. You could use this one, but in this case scenario, if you use this right here, this is going to be the ideal one that gets traded into. So you see right here, you get the 62% retracement of the fib short. At what time? This is about 14 is 2, so about 3 p.m. So at around 3 p.m., we had a potential fib short where you could have ideally got a potential reentry. Now, even though we didn't tap into 33,800, which would have been an ideal scenario if we would have tapped into that 70.50%, but we also tapped into this breaker block right here also. So we had a little breaker block in here. So we have two breaker block plays that you potentially could have caught. So we have the fib short plus we have that 15-minute breaker block. And then from here, you could have caught this move to the downside, traded it back to 33,500, and then from here, price retraced into it and kept going higher. But nonetheless, today was overall bearish. New York reversal. High of the day was created during the early New York session. From here, prices trended downwards. We had a retracement at about 9:30. 9:30 we had a retracement, but then price overall came lower, targeting the London session lows, the previous day's lows, and the Asian range lows. So from here, now let's get the schematic of overall what happened today. So just like this, we're going to, didn't mean to do that. Let me get like this so I can find a good area to put it. We're going to put it right here. So right here, we had the Asian session, which ranged. Then we had London session come down, push higher, had that false break scenario, made a nice little head and shoulders, and then price overall came back up and came down. So this is ideally what happened. This isn't perfect. Here, let me just make it a little bit smaller. But this is a good example of what can tend to happen with a bearish New York reversal. And this is something that happens on a weekly and monthly basis. That's why I always do this and show you guys, because the things that happen here are things that are going to happen repeatedly and happen multiple times every single month, every single week, all of that. So now that we have that, what we're going to do is put this up here. Make sure we get our screenshot. I'm going to send it in the Telegram. I'm going to make sure I post this and everything, and make sure you guys screenshot this also, because this is going to be a learning experience for you to learn. You learn from the past to anticipate what could possibly happen in the future, because the reason we day trade is because we're supposed to have an edge. The only way we're going to get an edge is by finding patterns that happen often. If we're trading things that don't happen, the likelihood of you being able to have that trade work out is going to be far less profitable. So without further ado, hopefully this video was informative in any way, shape, or form. I hope you're able to learn something from this. If you did, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you join the Telegram in the link in the bio. And that's really it. Make sure you stay motivated by the fear of being average. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow morning.